Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. I am your host, Bashar, and this is an episode reviewing Pakistan's squad against New Zealand and also previewing the Pakistan versus New Zealand T20 series, which is to start in a couple of days. With me, as always, is my brother.
Nazar Sayed, reporting for duty.
Looking forward to this episode. Pakistan has had great records in the past few times touring New Zealand, especially in T20s. The last time they were there was right before the T20 World Cup. They beat Bangladesh and New Zealand in the Tri-Series tournament. And before that, under Sarfaraz's captaincy, they won 2-1. So looking forward to the new captain we have, Shaheen Afridi, how he conducts this tour as captain, what changes he makes. There's already been a few changes in the squad, which I think is exactly where I want to start off with.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a monumental series for Shaheen Afridi. He has a lot to live up to. 2 back-to-back wins for Lahore Qalandars at the PSL. That's no small feat. And he has, big shoes to fill in the Afridi name. I think this is a good tour for him. Pakistan has historically done well against New Zealand and in New Zealand, especially in T20s. So it's going to be, it's going to be another challenge for Shaheen Afridi to live up to that expectation. He's an aggressive captain. He's an aggressive player. He's one of the first fast bowling captains that Pakistan has elected in a very long time. I think
Since Waqar Younis in 03?
Yeah, it's been since like the 2000s that we haven't seen a fast bowling captain. We've had spinners, we've had batsmen, we have all-rounders, not a fast bowling captain. So he has those shoes to fill up to. The last fast bowling captain, apart from Babar Younis, that led us to the World Cup, went to a World Cup final. So, and he oftentimes gets compared to that person being Wasim Akram. And I don't want to be harsh, or I don't want to be, bloating expectations this time. I've been known to do that. We've been actually criticized of doing that to Pakistani fans, that we sort of elevate their expectations and then leave them out to dry. That's not going to happen on this podcast today. We're going to be very squared up. We're going to be very balanced, and we're going to be reviewing the series and the squad with generous eyes, but not generous tongues.
Well, it is a change in format, and Pakistan is a good T20 team. And I think you can judge that by the abundance of players that we have in this format. I was just reviewing the series that we had last against New Zealand back in April. That squad versus this squad that's been announced. Lots has changed in that time frame. Babar lost captaincy. The whole coaching staff changed. So we have a new director in Mohammad Haris. We have a new captain in Shaheen. And as I go through the squad for this tour, I'll just name it out. Shaheen Shah Afridi captain, Amir Jamal, Abbas Rafidi, Azam Khan, Abrar Ahmed, Babar Azam, Fakhar Zaman, Haris Rove, Hasibullah, Iftikhar Ahmed, Mohammad Nawaz, Mohammad Rizwan, Muhammad Wasim Jr., Sahib Zada Farhan, Saim Ayub, Osama Mir, and Zaman Khan. Now, the series before, there's been a few changes since then. So Mohammad Haris was a notable change, who was rested.
So the series before that happened in April 23.
That's correct. Mohammad Haris has been rested. Someone who is 22 years old, plays the one format. Babar-Rizwan has said that they've rested Mohammad Haris. So we'll do a deep dive into that and how that even makes any sense. Shan Masood has been rested. He was our top run scorer of the last T20 World Cup. He's been sidelined since. Fahim Ashraf has been dropped. Shadab Khan injured. Imad Wasim retired. And Naseem Shah also injured alongside Ehsanullah. So a few forced changes, obviously due to injuries. Imad Wasim wasn't able to make it. So Mohammad Nawaz finds his place back into the Pakistan team. What luck, as I may say, or what bad luck for the Pakistan team. So starting off with the big headline when the squad was announced was Mohammad Haris. Now, rested, dropped, I don't know what you want to say, but just some of his stats are brilliant. He is the only modern day player that Pakistan has in this generation.
Now, define that. Define modern day player. What do you mean by that?
Well, someone who can play all the shots, someone who plays aggressively, someone who plays with a fearless attitude. I think the only Pakistan batsman that I know can play the scoop shot I mean, yeah, Simon Ayub has the no look scoop shot, but Mohammad Haris is sort of the pioneer of the scoop lap shot
in Pakistan cricket.
in boxing cricket.
I can already hear the cackle of the keyboards. Oh no, AB de Villiers started that. RCB. I can hear that. But so you got to be very strict with what you're saying.
Haris announced himself with a 6 in his PSL debut against Karachi. He announced himself with an 11 ball 28 against South Africa at the T20 World Cup in a do or die match.
Yep, do or die situation. Mohammad Haris, also an alumni of the podcast, fan of the podcast, friend of the podcast. He was genuinely one of those people that I was shocked to see not be in the 15. It doesn't really quite make sense to me why you would go with a new opener. Saibullah Farhan being another opener, I believe. And then, sorry, Hasibullah is the one who actually replaced Mohammad Haris. So I don't understand that tactic from Wahab Riaz, but then again, I don't understand a lot of what Wahab Riaz is doing at the PCB. So that's not a new trait for him. The other thing that doesn't make sense to me is, again, you outline the age and you outline the experience that Mohammad Haris has. He's only played a handful of T20s. I believe 10 to 15 max. That's still pretty young, pretty new in that format. Even if he's a champ of that format, he's won the CPL. He was at the GT20. He was at the.
He didn't win the CPL.
Who won the CPL? Oh, Azam. Him and Saib and Azam won the CPL. My bad. Apologies. But he was there. He's been playing leagues.
He won the LPL.
The LPL, yes, he won the LPL, and he's been around, and he's been winning trophies for T20 leagues, and he's doing good. Even the GT20, he was in the playoffs. So it just goes to show that he has that experience. I don't understand the resting of it. Is there something else that we don't know? Is there something that maybe they're trying to hide from us? Is there some internal feud going on with Mohammad Haris and somebody else? We don't know, but it does seem like this was an intentional move. And resting, I don't understand.
To back up my stat of saying that he is a modern day fearless player, Haris' stats in the PSL 2023 is the following. He scored 350 runs at an average of 31 and a strike rate of 186. Strike rate of 186. This is the highest strike rate amongst the top 25 run scorers on the list of the last PSL. He has the highest strike rate in the power play and the middle overs by any batsman of the PSL. He has the best strike rate of a Pakistani batsman in PSL 8 and PSL 8 for his runs combined. Now, the most recent national T20 Cup that just passed, you can just judge his recent form by this performance. He scored 330 runs at an average of 27.5 and a strike rate of 146. So his recent form is good. He's performed at Pakistan's highest domestic tournament, which is the PSL. He's had some impactful innings at the T20 World Cup. And despite all that, he's been sidelined. He's been rested. I still can't wrap my head around being arrested. How can you arrest a guy who's 22, plays one format? I mean, and for Hasibullah is a good player. He's an emerging, upcoming player. But I don't think Hasibullah even has the numbers to back replacing Haris in the squad, right? And if you have the argument of building Pakistan's bench strength, well, Rizwan is a keeper, Azam Khan is a keeper, Mohammad Haris is a keeper. Why do you need a fourth keeper as a backup? Like, how long do you want your bench strength to be?
Do you think it's a massive overcorrection from what they didn't do last World Cup, the ODI World Cup, where they didn't really test their bench strength? They went with a maybe 13-man squad that they were confident of, and by the time they went to the World Cup, three or four of those guys were already injured, and they had to squander for people and pick and choose and basically have no options available because none of them were truly tested. Do you think they're trying to overcorrect that by even trying Hasibullah in this format at this stage?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, they're just overdoing it. I mean, I understand you want to build your bench strength, but I mean, this is your bench, this is your C team you're building at this point. And again, like I mentioned, Pakistan has a lot of players in the T20 squad. If they do want to go back to another wicketkeeper, I think even Saibullah Farhan can wicket-keep. So again, I still don't know how to wrap my head around this Haris being rested.
Do you think Hasibullah gets a game?
It's tough. I mean, Azam's playing as a keeper, as Wahab Riaz outlined. Rizwan is playing as a fielder. Hasibullah, I just can't see him, him making the top 5, top 6. Maybe unless you drop Fakhr right? But again, if you are looking forward to the T20 World Cup, I think Pakistan should have gone with their full strength 17 squad, and Haris should have been part of that, right? And he has the numbers to back it up. It looks like this is something personal between Haris and someone in the management, someone in the selection, because even his stories after he was dropped, they were quite emotional. He posted a reel right after that, practicing with a sidearm, and saying he is tunnel focused on the PSL coming up.
Yeah, but that's how it should be. You gotta prove yourself with the runs, prove yourself with the stats, and stats don't lie. Do you think the absence of Shadab Khan, it's important, it's pivotal? I know he's going through an injury right now, so he's recovering from that. But is there anybody who's trying to scoot their way into that spot, that 7-8 spot, as a spinning all rounder?
Well, the only, I would say, close replacement we have for Shadab is Osama Mir, like a genuine leg spin wicket taker. And Osama Mir in ODIs is a very different bowler versus Osama Mir in T20s. He had a great big bash that just passed. He can smack a few in the end as well, but his batting, I wouldn't say, is even remotely close to Shadab's. And his fielding, let's not even talk about it.
Yeah.
That Warner dropped is
Bad memories.
imprinted in my mind.
Yeah, let's not go there.
What I heard was Pakistan's first option spin attack was Abrar Ahmed and Muhammad Nawaz. So Abrar being injured gives Osama Mir the opportunity to come in, and it's not a bad call. Having Osama Mir is not bad.
Now, do you think Abrar being injured squanders his chances to be selected for the World Cup in June? Because he's not playing this series. He's going back home. The next big thing that's coming up is the PSL. That's going to be about 6 weeks or 5 weeks. And then right after that, they have probably the Ramzan break, because there's no games between when the PSL ends in March till May. And then in May, they play England for, I believe, 5 T20s or 4 T20s in England. And then they go straight into the World Cup after that. So do we test Abrar in that series? And if he doesn't even get to play that series or the PSL, he's just out of contention to be in that spot?
I think there's time to test Abrar. We'll see how he does in the PSL and see if he actually is a good white ball bowler. And after that, we do have England coming over for some games. Or are we going to England?
I believe we're going to England. England's coming over for the tests. These matches are in England.
Okay, yeah. So if we're going to England, yeah, I would love to test Abrar out, right? I think Babar, the one thing I liked or did not like, something I liked at the same time disliked about his captaincy was that he played the same 11 to 13 people in his whole captaincy tenure. And that's why we never had a bench strength. So
Amr Jamal was never picked.
Amr Jamal was picked and never picked again. So,
yes.
That's the onus is on Babar. So with Shaheen captain, I hope we can just swap a few players here and there to test them out if you want to really build our bench strength. So Shadab, I think, should be our first choice spinner in the team. You can't drop Shadab in the team from his ODI performance to his T20 performance, right? He is our best T20 player. He had, I think, 2 man of the match awards last T20 World Cup. Gun fielder, amazing batsman, and your top of the line leg spinner. So Shadab for me is a shoe-in every single playing 11. Now you can experiment with playing Osama as a backup with maybe Abrar in the team, because Abrar isn't really a leg spinner. He's more of a finger / mystery spinner.
So you can insert him whenever, even if he's not really off with a good or any experience in the T20s in the international circuit. That's still proof enough. His bowling is good enough that he can still make that 11.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Cool. The other change that we saw in the 17 that we wanted to talk about was the inclusion of Azam Khan. He's back in the side.
Now, Azam wasn't able to really find his place in the team in Babar Azam's tenure. He made his initial debut under Babar's captaincy, and then he was dropped, and then he came back again when Shadab was captain for that one-off series against Afghanistan. And the story behind that I heard is when Azam came into the team the first time Pakistan was touring England, a lot of the guys in the team refused to come out for training because they said, if someone with Azam Khan's fitness can play in the team, why should we need to train? This was quoted by Ms. Haq on one of the big TV channels. So Azam played a few games there, got dropped, had an incredible back-to-back PSL seasons, comes back against Afghanistan in the series in Sharjah. Now, that was a very young Pakistan team, and it felt like on paper it looked really good, a young Pakistan team going to face Afghanistan, but facing Afghanistan in Sharjah, that's a tough challenge because they have bowlers like Nabi, Mujibur Rahman, Rashid Khan. It's tough to face those bowlers, and it felt like Pakistan really struggled going from the quick and flat pitches in Pakistan to the turning tracks and slow tracks of Sharjah. So Azam, after performing again in the CPL, in the National T20 Cup, in the GT20, has made him his place back into the side under Shaheen's captaincy. So what are your thoughts on his inclusion? Do you think it's a good sign for Pakistan? There have been lots of question marks on his fitness. So shed some light.
Now, I was just looking at his debut game against England, where Pakistan actually went out and scored 232 blistering knocks from Rizwan and Babar from the top, and Fakhr coming in 8 ball 26 from Fakhr, 3 sixes. And Azam really didn't actually get a chance to do anything. He came in, played 3 balls, 1-4, and scored 5 not out, and didn't even really have an opportunity to do any catching in that game. So it was his debut, but not really a remarkable debut. And then he goes into the Afghanistan series, and that one was just a tough series for him in general.
I think Azam's played 13 balls his whole international career.
Yeah, he got a plum out against Rashid Khan in that game, 4 balls, 1 run. And, the game before that wasn't any, much surprising as well. So he has much to prove in this series for sure. I think he gets a spot in the playing 11 off the bat. The thing that's bothering everybody, and the thing that's sort of been a staple of his criticism, has been his fitness. And I think his dad said it really well on that show, The Pavilion, where he was like, Azam is a grown man. He's 22, 23, or whatever, 24 at this point. I cannot be the one who keeps telling him to lose weight. He's a professional cricketer. He knows better what to do and what he thinks is good for him. And that's that. At this point, we've talked about that. We've talked to him in person about that. People have in multiple podcasts, multiple interviews that he's shown up. People have mentioned his fitness, and he's just given the same response, which is that this is how he wants to play cricket. Now,
I think he thinks that cricket is more of a skill-based game, and if he is performing with this fitness, like, why does he need to lose that? I think that's what his stand on the whole fitness thing is.
I also think at this point it's we've met him and we've hung out with him, and we understand his personality, which is, I think it's been said enough so many times, to the point that it's been said too many times, and he's just become like sort of immune to it, or
numb.
Yeah, it doesn't click to him anymore, and he just wants to prove himself in the fitness that he has. That, hey, you think that I can't be the best because of this? I'm not going to let this be a liability. I'm going to use it in my stride and make sure that my haters shut up. He's done that many times in the leagues. We just talked about him winning the CPL with Sime. That's a big ask, and he was one of the top scorers there. He was scoring big in the playoff games. And that's important. That sort of experience is important for Pakistan fans. And now he has a great opportunity to redeem himself. If he scores big in this series, if he plays all 5 games, scores about 250 runs at a strike rate of over 130, 140, I don't think anyone's going to talk about his fitness.
I think there's 2 points that I want to mention here. The first thing is, looking ahead at the T20 World Cup happening in the Caribbean and the USA, Azam is someone who has played 3 seasons of the CPL. Right, the last and most recent season he played for Guyana, he was part of the winning team. Azam scored 224 runs, average of 20.3, strike rate of 155. So he was in the top 10 run scorers. He also hit 16 sixes, which was the 5th most. And consider that he bats at number 5 and 6. It's a very key position. He can play a match-winning cameo, and again at number 5 and 6, he can only play cameo. So his average can never really be 50, 55, or 40. It'll be in that 20s, 30s. But his strike rate, the sixes he hits, I think that's something to judge him off of. On top of that, his recent form, which really got him into the Pakistan team, was the National T20 Cup. He scored 37 runs at an average of 44 and strike rate of 156. He was crucially the man of the match in the semifinals, where he scored 38 off 25 balls while chasing. So I think he's in good form. He's in a good headspace. He's looking more confident than ever. I think he was number 7 and the highest run scorers of the GT20. So again, he has experience of playing also in Canada under the drop-in pitches that we might see in New York and Dallas. So a good addition, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on him because he'll be taking the gloves from Mohammad Rizwan, right? Rizwan can play as a fielder, Azam cannot. And I think I heard Babar-Rizwan mention that they'll be giving Azam the gloves. So there's going to be extra eyeballs, extra scrutiny on every ball Azam catches. And I think, and I hope he understands that there will be a magnifying glass on his fitness every time he fails. So I hope in the next 6 months, he can work on it and really look to
shut down his haters, basically. Because one thing that'll be really key is if Azam performs to the potential that he has in this series, in the ongoing series, and gets chosen for the World Cup, that'll be defining for A, Azam, and B, Pakistan cricket team, because that 5-6 spot, crucial.
We've tried Asif Ali, we've tried Khuzdil Shah, Haider Ali, Fakhr at 6. So we're still looking to find the right combination at number 5-6.
And if he fits that 5-6 spot, it's game over for everybody else. Genuinely. Because his 20 ball 40 is going to be way more important than anything from the top, because he comes in and finishes the innings, carries that momentum over to the next innings, and then you give your ballers a better shot at taking wickets. You give the team morale is higher. You give yourself a chance to win from a better place than you would if, the end isn't as juicy. Now, Shadab usually is supported in that area, but I believe that Azam Khan, with his clean hitting and his, go in there and blow up ballistic attitude, it's going to be a game changer if it works.
The other big change that we might see in this series is the end of the Rizbar partnership. Yes, Rizbar stands for Rizwan and Babar Azam. They've been not only Pakistan's most prolific T20i opening pair, but in fact, they are the most prolific opening pair in T20 internationals. They have the most runs. They have the most 100 partnerships. If I just read the stats out, 56 innings, 2,708 runs, an average of 50. They have a 50 batting average every time they open. They have 9 partnerships that were of 100 plus. They have 11 50 partnerships. They famously played that 152 for 0 not out innings against India, which helped Pakistan register their first ever win against India at any World Cups.
They also have 200 partnerships as well.
I think one against South Africa.
And one against England.
Yep.
And they won one of those games with 10 wickets.
So if anybody really thinks about changing their opening partnership of Rizbar, it sounds kind of crazy. It sounds like, why would you, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I'm sorry to say, but I am part of that cult who is saying change the opening partnership.
I'm glad you just called it a cult, because that's exactly what it is. It never made sense to me at the time. I understood some of the reasoning with the strike rate and the clutch moments and not showing up in the World Cups. I get that. But I am, again, on the opposite side, where I think that the Rizbar partnership, it was stable, it was consistent, it was strong enough that it could give you a really good start in the first 8, and then you can build upon that with people like Saim or Haris or Fakhr coming in at 3, 4, 5. And you can just build upon that. It was a good foundation to have. When you're, as a Pakistan cricket fan, you've seen the likes of Ahmed Shahzad opening, and you've seen the likes of Imran Farhad opening in T20s, and so on and so forth. And you've never really seen them really cross the 20-30 mark as a opening partnership. And to come to the Rizbar partnership, you've seen them do it over 20 times. You've seen them chase 200. You've seen them chase 152 for 0 against India. You've seen them break the records, go to the finals, go to the semis. And I mean, it'll definitely be the end of an era. And I also understand the criticism that comes with it, even though I don't agree with most of it. I just think at this point, let's try it out. Let's see what other people have to say. If Saim comes in, proves himself at the top, I will be, again, Saim Ayub agenda on this podcast is loud and proud. I will be the first one to say that was a good move to make. But that still doesn't mean that the Rizbar partnership is not iconic. That doesn't mean that the Rizbar partnership should not be celebrated. It has achieved a lot. It has given us wins at moments that we didn't think that would win. Chasing 200 in South Africa, crazy. Chasing 152 in Dubai, crazy. Chasing 200 against England in Pakistan, crazy. So, and it immediately I'm transported to that moment where Babar was chasing 200. He was almost about to make his 100 as well. And he does that in the last ball, hits a 6 or 4 and gets his 100 as well. So like iconic moments like that, Ruj screaming, the king takes a bow in Lahore. And moments like that is what I will cherish. Not to say that anything else is happening, is I think Babar is moving to number 3, which could be a really fruitful decision as well. Kohli plays at 3, Williamson plays at 3, and Babar could really shine in that state as well. But that's just my 2 cents on the Rizbar situation. I think it was sometimes unfairly neglected and unfairly criticized. But if that's what Shaheen wants to do as his first change as a captain, then I have to support that.
For me, it's a welcome change. I'm looking forward to it. I am excited. I can't wait. I'm over the moon. And the main reason is, as much as I love the whole Rizbar partnership, yes, like you said, it gave us stability. It gave us that platform to go berserk after the first 6-7 overs. What I felt like it did not give us was an explosive start. This is not that pair that utilized the power play really well. And I feel like, again, I've mentioned this time and time again, break down the 20 over innings into 3 parts. Power play, middle overs, death overs. Have specialist players playing in each part of those 3 phases. And I felt like Pakistan's best openers right now is Fakhar Zaman, Saim Ayub, Mohammad Haris. These guys should be opening for Pakistan, or at least be in the top 3, right? So because of Rizbar doing so well, numbers backing them up, we weren't able to try Saim Ayub opening, try Fakhar Zaman, who is arguably the best opener in white ball cricket in Pakistan, especially T20s, back-to-back PSL wins. He was the opener for Lahore Qalandars. He was the one that scored tons of runs for them, most 6s last PSL. So he is that game-changing batsman that you need to have in the power play. Now, with Saim Ayub up and coming, I think it'll be a welcome change to have him open. I think what the news says is Saim will open with Rizwan. Rizwan, by the way, he was also announced as the vice captain.
I don't know why they keep doing that. I genuinely don't know why they keep doing that. Like, they could have announced him as vice captain when, let's say, if Shaheen were injured and we're out of the series, then you could be like, okay, now our new captain is Rizwan. But why do that in the middle?
What is a vice captain? Does that even matter? Because Shadab Khan was the vice captain under Babar, and he didn't really take over the reins from Babar. So what the hell does a vice captain even mean?
No idea. It's an
unless you're just there to have some opinions shared, some suggestions. That
but you don't need to be like labeled as something to do that. Like Babar will be still important on the field as a reigning captain who played a final, as one of the more senior players in the team. His opinion will be just as valid just because he's not vice captain. You don't need that badge of honor for your opinion to hold some sort of regard. I just think it's a stupid thing to do, and it just creates animosity and weird politics online, and it's just weird. I think it's arbitrary, completely useless.
I agree. It doesn't mean it's the same thing as Dwight being the assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah. No real position, just vibes. I have a question for you. It says here that Shan Masood was rested. Do you think he's going to make a comeback? Or is this rested as a low-key dropped?
I think it's a low-key dropped. Horses for courses. Shan Masood, we needed a batsman like him in Australia who could play the conditions.
And he did.
Who could play technically very well. And I think, we used him very well. We utilized him. And now we're looking forward to the next T20 World Cup. It is here in the Caribbean and the USA. So drop in pitches, flat pitches, high scoring games. I don't think Shan Masood has what it takes to play at those strike rates. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't come back on the team.
Cool. And so you have your Pakistan's playing 11 chosen here. You want to read them out?
I do, and it was just kind of hard to make this playing 11 because with the current selection, Pakistan has a problem of too many top order players in their squad. For example, Babar-Rizwan, Rizwan, Fakhr, Saim, Sahib Farhan, Hasibullah. This is like 5 or 6 guys right here. So how do you pick the top 3? How do you pick the openers? What I have in the playing 11 is the followings, right?
So do you think this is going to be the tentative playing 11 or this is your playing 11?
I think this is going to be the tentative.
So it should be something close to this once the game starts.
I think I'll be 10 out of 11. 95% right.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so here we go. Saim Ayub and Rizwan opening. Babar-Rizwan 1 down. Fakhr Zaman 2 down, as he mentioned in the press conference. Iftikhar Ahmed at number 5. Azam Khan at number 6. Amir Jamal at number 7. Shaheen Afridi at number 8. Osama Amir at number 9. Haris Rauf at 10. Zaman Khan at 11.
I think this is solid. This is a pretty good team.
We have we have a really good pace attack. And mind you, Naseem Shah is not even here. Ehsanullah is not even here. Abbas Afridi on the bench. So Pakistan has a problem of too many in T20s. And it's kind of sad when you compare this to ODIs and tests where we're struggling to find bowlers who can bowl up to 140. And in T20s, we have like 7 bowlers.
That's pretty good. I mean, in T20s, we have a loaded stack, but we need to start transferring these people over to the larger formats where skill actually matters more. T20s, it's fun, it's ballistic, it's explosive, but at the end of the day, because of the shorter format, anybody can come in and win. That's why I'm generally a little bit scared about the following group that Pakistan is in. I don't know if you want to talk about that right now, but Pakistan has Canada, US, India, Ireland in that group. I mean, we're in Canada. We've seen the Canadian players practice. We have some of our friends in the Canadian national team right now. They look determined.
That's the beauty of T20s where anybody on the day, as Babar says, on the day has the chance of upsetting, right? The shorter the format, the more chances of upset. And I think that's the beauty of this format. That's also why I think the Pakistan versus India match is going to be a tight one as well, right? No game is going to be an easy one. Last World Cup, the Dutch beat South Africa. And that's what paved the way for Pakistan to play the semis and the final.
Yep.
So I think it's beautiful. I love the format happening in our own backyard. We'd love to be at the games for Pakistan versus India and Pakistan Canada.
So yeah, that'll be a very exciting few months that's coming forward. Definitely, we'll be at the games against the Pakistan and India games, the Pakistan Canada games as well. Our friends are playing on both sides. And it'll be fun to support Pakistan and Canada. It'll be fun to support Pakistan against India. And just an overall exciting time to be a cricket fan in the future right now. Now, this upcoming series, it's coinciding with a lot of things for us on this podcast. Now, we're very excited that we will be firstly presenting a live stream during one of the T20 matches. We haven't decided which.
It'll either be the 3rd or the 5th one, though.
Yeah, because of the timing, the 3rd and the 5th one are starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is our local time. So it'll be one of those. Hopefully the 5th one, it'll be a tight game, maybe a series decider. Who knows? We'll be live streaming that. So check that out. And the second thing most important thing is that we're trying our best to make it to the World Cup in June. So if you guys want to follow that journey, please definitely like, subscribe, check it out. The Patreon is a great way to join our community. And if you want to support the podcast monetarily, we have tiers there that you can join. One of the tiers allows you to come on calls with us once a month, talk to us face to face, discuss cricket, discuss, argue with us if you want, enjoy some downtime with us. And you can do that in the Patreon link in the description below. And if you don't want to do that, just want to support the podcast, find a community of like-minded cricket fans that are mostly North America, UK, whatnot. You can join the Discord server below. We're almost at 1,000.
We are at 1,000, by the way.
We're at 1,000? We're at 1,000 members on Discord server, which is insane.
Someone called That's a Jaffa was our 1,000th fan. So shout out That's a Jaffa.
There we go. Mr. Jaffa or Ms. Jaffa. Thank you very much for joining. We got 1,000 people there. Avid cricket fans. That's all they do. That's all they talk about. Every single day I wake up, there's 60 to 70 updates on all these different channels. We have a channel that's my favorite called My Net Session, which I'm just using to mark my progress as a cricketer. And you can just share your clips there and you have people comment, critique, just enjoy whatever cricket you have to offer. It's a great place to be at. We're almost on it every single day. I check it more often than I check Instagram now. So I can't, praise it as much as I can. And then as obviously, you can join the memberships on Spotify and YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. We have special episodes there. We have Q&As that are only available to those memberships and our Patreon fans as well, obviously. And same thing on the membership front on YouTube. You can join it. It's $2.99 a month, guys. Supports the podcast, supports everything that we do here, and lets us do it for a longer and better time. So that was probably my spiel at the end. I think it was a good way to end it, Bashar.
100%.
Emoji
Five-match
of the day.
series. Emoji of the day. 5-match series coming up. Pakistan versus New Zealand. What is going to be the emoji of the day?
What do you got?
I think it's a new captain, Shaheen Afridi. I think it should be, what did you say?
It's a cap.
Is a cap?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's multiple colored cap emojis. I believe you can just use a cap. It's a new captain.
Shaheen getting a new, wearing his test cap.
Exactly. So you can do that. Whatever cap you want, comment below. Let us know. And if there's anything else you guys want to hear from us, always leave it in the comments. We're always there, replying back. If you guys are being nice, we'll reply. If you guys are being mean, we won't reply. So if you guys are driving, drive safe. If you guys are listening to us on your phone, laptop, whatever, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a review on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Cheers.